Fanboy, 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 fanboy. Gran Turismo 6 freaking sucks! This is probably gonna be the final racing game for the PS3. And what a shame. What an embarrassing way to go out for the 7th gen Sony system. Can't believe that Sony decided to go out with a whimper with this pathetic Gran Turismo 6. Yes, I can't even believe that there's a 6th installment in this crap-tacular racing sim. Yeah, it's nothing but a bunch of crappy racing simulation games. I mean, talk about the most boring so-called racing titles. I mean, there's nothing fun about these boring, tedious, absolutely predictable, horrible crap Turismo 6. I mean, there's nothing good about these GT. I mean, ever since the 90s, I still don't even understand how this is like one of the best-selling franchises for Sony, and it's an exclusive, by the way. So the only reason they released this so late in the PS3's life cycle is that they want to make, that final cash-in. They want to make a quick buck off the GT name, and they don't want to take the risk of releasing it on the PS4, where it would have completely flopped and completely outshined by something like Driveclub, because Driveclub is going to be the one that replaces Gran Turismo. Absolute pathetic title, and it's just been released. Came out December 6th in worldwide 2013. The reception, the actual feedback has been incredibly negative, and you can see that. Look at the scores. Game Rankings gave it a 79.29% game ranking aggregate. Metacritic 80 out of 100, the same, around the same range. And this is just a complete embarrassment. There is really nothing good about this pathetic tripe. Nobody cares about GT. That's the crazy part, is like nobody even really gives a crap about it. I'm pretty sure the sales are gonna completely flop compared to the other ones. Like GT, it might have sold a lot in the past, and people might have bought it up back then, but you can see the decline in quality and sales. You can see that nobody is falling for the trick anymore. It's nothing but a one-trick pony. There is nothing impressive about the the crap Turismo series. And that's completely proven by the fans. Let's check out the user score first. Actual user score gave it a 7.6. How is that worth the money? How is that worth full price? It's not. I mean, they took forever to release GT5. They had that stupid crap prologue, and then now they got GT6 all these years later, and it's completely irrelevant by now. Norkiller gave it a 0. Ugly like its predecessor, slow menu like its predecessor, music are bad like etc, etc. The engine sounds are a joke like its predecessor. Wow, what a joke. It has microtransactions, LOL. A perfect game for the fanboys. And he wrote down SSS as in dollar signs. There you go. I mean, only a pathetic Sony drone would even be interested in this. Yeah, it has microtransactions, and Sony's trying to defend it. Oh, it's important for that, because only a pathetic loser dweeb that is so dumb that they're willing to pay even more money and spend more cash on GT6. I mean, again, a cash-in. They're trying to get as much money from these Sony TARs as much as possible. It's really nothing new or impressive, and they're just trying to rip you off. They're trying to get as much money from you as much as possible, just right before GT completely dies and completely nobody cares about it anymore. They still want to get a little bit of that squeeze, a little bit of that, trying to milk it for every penny that anybody else is willing to pay for this crap. Bretsky20, give it a 0. The graphics are worse than GT5, and it's filled with microtransactions. There you go again with microtransactions. They've recycled hundreds of cars, and the sounds are nowhere near as realistic as the other car games. Ugh, totally not worth $60. If anybody spends $60 on this, even $50, I mean, you have got to be the dumbest, most gullible, saddest, pathetic loser in the entire history. You couldn't pay me to spend money on this crap. Blau 2110, or 210 I should say, he gave it a 3. A 3. What pains me is that I love auto racing so much that I will waste a lot of time with a really crappy game. Well, that's an idiot's mentality. The graphics are identical, if not worse than GT4. The courses and events I've seen thus far are almost a carbon copy. And the progression through the unbelievably linear story mode is entirely slow. Too slow. Well, I mean, GT4, Gran Turismo 4 came out like 9 years ago, you know, for the PS2. That was ages ago. And that game sucked monkey nibbles. There's really nothing impressive about this game. Everybody's slamming it. Oh my goodness. If you own a PS3, I think it's about time to hang it up if you have this game. I mean, there's really nothing. There's no reason to buy this. This has probably the least hype out of all the PS3 games this year. Again, a PlayStation 3 on its way out, it's basically killed itself. It's basically destroyed. Sony has destroyed the PS3. I think they did this deliberately. It's a deliberate move by Sony to self-destruct in order to make like the PS4 even more like, whoa, look at the PS4. You know, it's got even better games. It's like that's the one you should be buying your money or spending your money with. Game Reactor Sweden gave it a 50. A 50 out of 100. Gran Turismo 6 feels like a relic of the past, and the gameplay hasn't evolved to today's standards. There really isn't anything real about the so-called real driving simulator. Just an old-fashioned Japanese game that isn't all that fun to play. Yeah, I mean, GT is an old franchise. This is from the mid-late 90s. They never changed that much. Maybe the graphics would be a little bit more realistic every generation, but that's it. And it's from Japan. It's a Japanese game, so that's why it sells so much. Is because it does pretty good numbers in that region because all these pathetic losers buy into it. You know, they still think that it's good, but really it's just nostalgia. At the most, this is pathetic. Video Gamer gave it a 60 out of 100. These are all, you know, the official Metacritic official scores. GT6 ends up feeling stubborn to adapt to modernity. Its myriad landscapes are barren and unexciting. And the music sounds like it's been ripped straight from an 80s adult film. Let's just put it that way. So, very outdated, pathetic pile of crap. Crap Turismo 6. I mean, that's it. It's over. It's finished. Metro Game Central gave it a 70. Level Up gave it a 70. I mean, even EGM said GT6 feels like a rushed effort, and many problems from the GT5 remains unresolved. That's it. It's over for crap Turismo 6. There's really nothing much else to talk about. If you actually wasted money on this, there is no sympathy at all. You deserve to be ripped off from your cash because you might as well take your wallet and throw it inside a dumpster, and then somebody might find it. I mean, they might not, but that's what you're doing. You're throwing it in the trash. With these Sony pathetic titles that are not relevant anymore. They're no longer important or impactful. It's all about, and I can't believe I'm saying this, when it comes to racing games, the only game that you should play, and the only racing titles that really matter, are games like Need for Speed. I'm talking specifically, Most Wanted, the most original game ever. Most Wanted is amazing, incredible first installment that came out in, I believe it came out in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Need for Speed Shift, that's an amazing racing title. Need for Speed is probably the most underrated racing game, and nobody ever talks about Need for Speed. Not a lot of people really know about Need for Speed, so you gotta really start buying it. And they need to come out with more Need for Speed. Like, we don't see enough Need for Speed. They need to make more, in my opinion. They need to release more Need for Speed titles, because they rarely ever come out anymore. You hardly see any more NFS racing games. That's all I got. That's it for this episode of Fanboy Reviews. And until next time, keep fanboying. Yeah!